If you want to be strong, mobile, and capable in your daily life, in the activities that you enjoy, then building a connected core is going to support all of that. Now, I know we have these ideas of what makes a strong core: six-pack abs, the V taper, tight core, bracing your core, flexing and shrinking and getting smaller and smaller. Those tight core strategies do work on creating stability throughout the body, but they don't really do a good job of supporting stability throughout movement. And I've noticed that my practice of movement expression and variety and pursuing a lot of these different athletic activities, that requires a different strategy for stability. The perspective I'm going to share with you today is all about expansion and connection. And by approaching stability from this perspective, I've been able to get a lot stronger by leveraging the center of my body, and I've been able to tap into true mobility through my limbs. Some of the things you're going to see today are very stability oriented, but we are expanding with the breath. We are creating more space. And when we do that and we take it into something more dynamic like primal movement, the three-dimensional nature of that movement actually becomes a lot more accessible because I understand where I am in space and how to stabilize through my center so my limbs can do their thing. So that's what we're getting into today. Core connection. I like to look at this as your body's effortless ability to maintain stability and posture through deep reflexive muscular coordination. Essentially, your body holds you rather than you having to hold your body. If you consciously have to hold your posture, hold your body, grip all the time, that's a lot of unnecessary effort. By building that connection through your core, you're going to be able to tap into so many more movement options because you're becoming more effective with that stability strategy and you're becoming a lot more efficient. You're not having to work as hard consciously creating all this tension. Your body is supporting itself. Now, there are two units of the core: the superficial or outer core, and these are typically the visible muscles, right? The abs, the obliques. These are fast twitch and movement oriented. They're very powerful. They're capable of creating a lot of force, but they also don't really have a ton of endurance. The second unit is the deep core or the inner core. The diaphragm, the pelvic floor, the transverse abdominis, a lot of other muscles in there. These are slow twitch and reflexively stable muscles. They are more endurance oriented, always on, but at a low level. When training the core, we want to create harmony between the deep core and the superficial core. So the deep core is doing its job and allows the superficial core to do its job. The deep core is going to stabilize the spine and pelvis. And when that midline stability is established, we can move better through our limbs. We don't have as much compensation through the body, and we can actually sense the four corners of the torso, the hips and the shoulders. The imbalance that often happens here is the superficial core is not only doing the big movements, the powerful movements that it's meant to do, but it's also focusing a lot on stability. And this actually weakens the deep core. And when the deep core is weak, it actually creates a lot more tension. It's more toned. And because of that, we have a lot of excessive tension through the body. So this could be in your breathing apparatus with your diaphragm. This could be a lot of tension in the pelvic floor. And these are areas where a lot of people have issues. When that harmony is restored between the deep core and the superficial core, they can get back to doing their jobs. And this eliminates a lot of unnecessary tension in those areas I just talked about. And we also can leverage that stability to create more movement, create more force through those superficial muscles. So the abs, the obliques, we can train those more effectively when the deep core is functioning well. We can actually relax into our posture, relax into our stability. So how do we restore that reflexive stability and that harmony between the deep core and the superficial core? It all starts with breathing. Anyone can create stability by bracing and tightening and holding their breath. But can you create stability on both the inhale and exhale? When we inhale, the diaphragm moves down, pressing our internal organs down, so we feel some expansion in the lower part of the torso. That pull down allows our lungs to expand in 360 degrees. So our rib cage is this apparatus that expands in all directions. So if you were to inhale right now, visualize the entire torso expanding in all directions, out to the sides, in the front, and especially in those back ribs. On the exhale, the diaphragm moves back up and the organs settle in place, and we're going to feel more of this pull towards the center as the air leaves the lungs. So we're going to feel this nice opening and expansion on the inhale and this nice pull and hug and wrapping on the exhale. When we get into this breathing pattern, now our breath, which is something that we do 26,000 times a day, begins to support our structure, begins to expand, and all these sort of tight spots, adhesions, stiffness, we have a little bit more space, everything can breathe, and now our body is holding itself so we don't have to hold on to it. This promotes better posture, more efficient stability and movement, and a lot more relaxation, a lot more peace in the body. This isn't the sexy six-pack ab oblique training, but you're going to build a foundation that allows you to develop that sort of musculature over time. And this is going to support you for the long term. This is going to support you in your daily life so you feel strong, capable, and confident in anything that you do. Now that you've got an understanding of the breathing, we're going to take this into some practical progressions, basic positions that we want to be stable in, and they're going to translate to a lot more dynamic movement later on. A lot of this is going to be positions that we went through as babies, developing that stability with our breath, interacting with the ground, interacting with our environment. The first key position that we'll focus on is prone. This is us facing the ground. So this could be us laying down on the ground, breathing, sensing the ground, sensing our breath, and understanding that pressure that we're creating through the torso. You can also take this into some different plank variations that promote stability through the shoulders. And again, we're really focused on the breathing pattern here, feeling into that expansion on the inhale and that compression on the exhale. On the ground in this position is a great one to work on some extension through the spine. So Superman, or I call it skydiver, a lot of variations there. And then the last piece of that is coming up into some quadruped positions, a lot of the positions and movements that you'll see in the primal movement that I share on this channel. The next position is supine, so lying down on your back. The big key here is that we want to feel that heaviness into the ground and sense the backside of our body. Going through some simple breathing exercises on our backs is going to support that sensing. We can then start to take it into movement through the pelvis, movement through the spine, along with some extension movements and glute bridges, and then also taking it into some bug stability exercises, building that stability in this position, and then using the arms and legs to increase the load and demand through the core. The next position is the side lying position or side plank position. Being able to sense the lateral line of our body, how that same side hip and shoulder connects, and how we can create some space there is super important. A lot of times there's some compensation when we aren't super stable in the lateral hip and then also through the shoulders. So this is when a lot of tension can come up into the neck and chest. By holding these positions, moving through these positions, we can reestablish that stability and start to feel into movement that is going to carry over into a lot of activity that we run into. The last position that is often overlooked in core training is standing. Yes, we built our core stability, our foundation on the ground, but most of us are navigating our days standing up. So it makes complete and total sense to train those positions and those movements. This starts with static holds, those isometrics in horse stance, squats, and hinges. We're going to better understand how we interact with the ground through the feet to establish that stability through the pelvis. And that's going to be the anchor point for our entire torso. We get heavy down through the pelvis, we anchor through the pelvis, and now we can breathe and expand and ascend upward. This is going to decompress the spine and give you a more translatable skill of feeling into your posture, feeling the support through your body, and that good relationship with gravity. It's also a good idea to incorporate some dynamic movements through these standing positions. So I love any sort of cross crawl patterning, marches, some standing core exercises that are going to develop that reflexive connection between opposite shoulder and hip, this nice X through the body. That simple framework is going to support you in building a strong and connected core that you'll be able to apply to your daily life. Exercising, running, bending over to pick stuff up, picking up your kids, playing with your kids, yard work, and simply navigating your life, trusting your body, and allowing yourself to be held by your body, allowing yourself to be in good relationship with gravity. That strong center is going to translate to better performance in athletics and sport. So throwing, lifting, twisting, rotating, all these dynamic movements, when you have a better sense of your center, you can simply move through it. And like I said, your body's going to feel more spacious, feel expansive, and let go of that stiffness, let go of that rigidity. To sum things up, We're building a body that holds itself, not one that you have to hold all the time. We're building an expansive core, not one that's all about getting tighter and smaller. I hope this video inspires you to approach your core training from a different perspective. And if you want to pursue that, I just dropped a program called Core Connection. This is an 8-week program that allows you to build that stability from the ground up in those 4 main positions we talked about. These sessions take 15 minutes, so it's something that fits into your life. I know this is something that's going to support you right now in building that strong and capable body, and it will continue to support you in the future as you enter into new chapters of your life. So if you want to build that stability, you want to build that connection through the core, that program is available on the smoov app, link in the description below. I know you're going to love it. That's all I've got for you in this one. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any further questions, drop them in the comments below. I will see you next time. Stay smoov.